Hello guys and welcome to this video. Now I've got a really special unique watch here. This is a Seiko mod inspired by the Breitling Avenger. You'll see the watch on the left there. Now Ivan from Canada reached out to me on Instagram and requested this build, and I jumped at the opportunity because I really like doing these more unusual homage pieces. So we see an awful lot of Rolex designs or Rolex inspiration. We don't ever see anything from really Breitling or brands like that. I've done a few Tudor designs, I've done a few Omega designs. I've never done a Breitling though, so I was really excited to try this. And it was actually Ivan that spotted me use this bezel insert on another watch recently on my Instagram. And I think it got him thinking about this Breitling Avenger. So what we wanted to do here is try and find a real Seiko dial, of course. I only use original Seiko dials, and appropriate parts to make this watch look like the Breitling, or take inspiration from the Breitling on the left. So let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. Before I get started though, do follow me on Instagram at SNKL83 Dubai. When I reach 10,000 followers on there, there'll definitely be a giveaway. Also, check out my website, svkwatches.ae. I'm based in Dubai, I make custom watches. I'm very happy to discuss an idea with you as well. So let's have a look around this watch first. What did we do to make it look like the Breitling? Well, the first thing I always start off with, and I recommend everyone does always start off with, is the dial. Now this is an SNKL83 K1, I believe, dial. Or in fact, no, it must be the J1 because I've just spotted the made in Japan on it. Either way, it's the SNKL83 dial. The reason I picked this dial is firstly actually the standard hands on it, which is the hour and minute, look an awful lot like the Breitling hands anyway. The seconds is also red. However, this is an upgraded seconds hand to make it look even more like the Breitling. That was from DLW. But yeah, this dial and those markers, there is a little bit of lume on the markers as well, which I'll show you later. I just felt that that looked just like the Breitling dial. It's got a slight sort of triangular marker at 12. The rest are these kind of stick markers. Now, the other unusual thing about this dial, and I've used the white one of these for an Omega build, is it almost looks like a record. You see those lines, those textured lines, really adds a bit of interest to an otherwise quite plain dial. We also have the minute track on the dial, which helps because then we can just use a brushed chapter ring, steel brushed chapter ring, keep it nice and plain there, but still super legible. We also added a black day. Now the reason for that, some of you might think that looks a little unusual, but of course the Breitling only has a date, it doesn't have the day display. So let me just move the hands by unscrewing the crown, and we'll discuss a bit more about that. So standard operation for Seiko, this is the NH36. So you can wind it in the first position. In the second position, we can change the day of the week and rotate to quick set the date. And of course, in the third position, the second stops and you can set your time accurately. And this is a screw down crown. I'll come to the case and everything in a minute. Okay, so the black day, yeah, so it might look a little unusual with the silver frame for it, but I really like that little change, and it just makes it look a little bit more modified, and from first glance a little more like the Breitling it's inspired by. Now, outside of that, we've got a brushed chapter ring, like I said, a steel. This is what I'd call like a ghost bezel, because it's a sub-style bezel, but it's got this radial brushing, which looks really nice. It's got the engraved numbers, which are really quite visible on this background. So you can see in certain angles, they kind of come and go, but really nice bezel insert. That's from DLW. That is a sloped bezel insert, as you can see. The crystal is a double dome sapphire crystal. These parts would all fit SKX or SRPD cases, by the way. We have a coin edge bezel. Now, unfortunately, they don't do that Breitling kind of notched bezel. That's all I can think of calling it, with the, you know, protruding markers, but this is as close as we could get. I decided to go for the coin edge just to keep it simple, but really nice bezel action, of course. You should be able to hear the defined clicks there, nice and firm, but not tight, and lines up nicely at 60 as well. So really nice bezel action. I'm a bezel action freak, so I do make sure all the bezels always turn really well. Now, case-wise, so I wanted to find a case similar to the Avenger, and this one with this quite small but sort of angled crown guards on the side made a lot of sense. This is actually a sea urchin SKX conversion case. You can get these from NamokiMods. I'll leave the link in the description. In fact, most of the parts, apart from the bezel, or I think Namoki might have a version of this bezel, you can get from NamokiMods as well, and you can follow my link for a discount there. You can get the crystal and the bezel insert and the second hand from DLW. They also have a fantastic range of parts, so I do link all my suppliers in the description if you're interested. The crown, if you just be careful when you do use this case, if you like this case, and I do a lot, be careful to get an SKX013 crown. These are smaller than the typical SKX crowns, so that's one thing I actually missed when I ordered this case recently. It's easy to do because you think you're buying an SKX style case, but actually the crown for this particular case is smaller, but it fits that design really, really well, I think. Now, what else do we have? I'll take it off the stand and show you the case back in a second. This is an oyster style bracelet. Unfortunately, I think this is the only bracelet you can currently get an aftermarket style, a good quality aftermarket style for this case. The bracelet I believe I got from Watch&Style, but the same exact one is on NamokiMods. But you do have to get the Sea Urchin SNZF bracelet if you're using this conversion case. So basically what a conversion case means is that it's in the shape of a sea urchin. It's got a slightly smaller crown and different lugs to match a different bracelet, but otherwise all of the parts, the dials, the hands, the chapter rings, the glass, everything else is going to fit from your SKX parts, which makes it a lot easier to get the right kind of designs and sizes. So let's take it off this stand and have a look at the back as well. So nice milled clasp. So really nice quality bracelet. You won't be disappointed there. You can see it's got just the Watch&Style text engrave on one lug. Inside is an NH36. I showed you the operation a bit earlier. So really strong, simple, reliable Seiko movement, automatic of course, and hand wind. And you've got a slim sapphire case back here. Now, the whole thickness of the watch reduces quite a lot with this case, especially the side profile. From this kind of angle, you can see it's a really thin case design. The actual watch itself will be in the region of 14 to 15 millimeters with the double dome crystal as shown, but it certainly doesn't feel that large. Now I will put it up to my own wrist and show you what it looks like on the wrist. But this does wear about right. It wears around the 42 millimeter case size. So perhaps with the crown at 3, a little bit bigger than an SKX. So you've got the whole package there. I feel like this just works. It's one of those OEM plus watches because we're using original Seiko dial, Seiko inspired parts, movements, even the hour and minute hand are from that SNKL model, and it's just all come together beautifully. I really like this build, and thank you so much, Ivan, for trusting me with it. I really hope this inspires more of you to reach out with interesting and unusual watch ideas. So let's have a quick look on my wrist. I'll show you a loom shot. Now I have sized this down to a more average size, so it won't fit me very well closed, but I can just hold it like that for you. So you can see for my wrist size, I've got a really large wrist, about 7 3/4 inches. That's about 19.5 centimeters, I think. And it fits my size really well. even though it's got that steel bezel. Sometimes the steel bezel watches do wear a little smaller, but also the bracelet, nice solid bracelet, really fits the lug to lug and sort of increases the lug to lug a little bit, because a lot of Seikos do wear smaller than they say. So there you have it, guys. What do you think? How did we do to match that Avenger? I'll get you a loom shot, and here are a few build videos. So you can see the original SNKL watch there. This is one of those builds where you do actually have to get, well, I certainly had to get the original watch and take the dial and hands out of it. We also used, of course, those parts from the suppliers I mentioned. That was, I believe, NamokiMods, Watch&Style, and DLW. So the links to those will be in the description, and it all came together really nicely in the end. So let's check out the loom shot, and we'll close it out there. So of course, with Seiko, you're going to get really nice strong loom. You can see it glows really quite bright. There is a slight difference in color between the loom pip and the hands and dial, but it does glow green in person. It always looks a little bit more blue on this camera for some reason, on the dial especially. Oh, I didn't mention the crystal. This is a double dome sapphire, and it's got blue AR, which will probably affect the color slightly, but I thought you can just about see the effect there pointing at the glass. Breitlings are quite famous for their awesome blue AR crystals. They're super clear crystals, and this replicates that a little bit as well. So if you're interested in a watch like this, let me know. Have a look at my current stock on sbkwatches.ae, and reach out if you've got an interesting idea. Let me know what you think of this one, guys. I love it, and I hope you do as well. And thanks again to Ivan for letting me share it with you. And enjoy your watch. I'll see you later. Thank you.